Connection cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. It's either there or it's not.
Wow.
There's nothing you can do to build connection. You can build a stronger bond. You can create a stronger attachment to each other, but that still doesn't mean connection is there. And you see this play out in situations where you have people who could meet each other right now, have this amazing connection. Something happens where they fall apart. They come back together years later, 10, 20 years later, and it's like they never stop talking. It just falls right back into place. It's connection. It's a deeper thing that's occurring there. To me, connection is your spirit recognizing its match. It is something that is happening beneath the surface, all right? Which is why many people who have felt connection, you can't always explain it. Connection does not always line up with the logic of compatibility. You can be compatible with tons of people. You can have chemistry with tons of people. You do not feel connection with a bunch of people.
Sometimes we get stuck in these situations where we're seeking the approval of someone for our self-esteem.
Yes.
Self-esteem is about yourself, right?
Absolutely.
But we start looking to other people for our self-esteem. And, you know, sometimes we find ourselves looking in broken mirrors to get a reflection of ourselves, right? And the greatest tragedy is when you look into a broken mirror to see if you're pretty, right? And you're gonna let that person tell you about your inner qualities. And the greatest tragedy is when you look in a broken mirror and you're gonna change your face to try to look good in a broken mirror.
For everybody who has ever stated these words, I wish I would have known. I would have done this if I would have known. Okay. How about this? Perspective shift. Why not be proud of the person you were in the past? Stay with me. Be proud of the person that you were in the past that decided to keep on going throughout their journey because it led for you to get here on today. How about be proud of who you were in the past, comma, because that person did not quit on the journey. That person did not give up. That person kept on going. That person kept on pursuing. That person kept on going throughout the journey, which has led you to this very moment.
Salvation is progressive, baby. Your faith is progressive. God takes you from faith to faith and glory to glory. You got to mature in some things, which means you got to go through some things and you got to face some difficulty. And the most important thing you need to face is yourself. Yourself trapped in a dark space to see what you're going to do when your back is up against the corner and what you're truly going to lean on. Oh God, I'm talking to somebody in here. You got to find out for yourself. You ain't got it all together. And if you don't lean and trust on the arm of God, you're not gonna make it in this world. And so the text says that he comes along and he says to them, I'm gonna help you remember what I did in the past so that you can make a decision about what I'm gonna do in your future, because the future is not a destination, it is always a decision.
I learned to rest, and I learned to rest, and what I mean by rest is not just sleep and vacate, but I learned to trust God more. And I think that the Bible says if you sin against, one of the commandments, you sin against them all. And Sabbath and rest is one of the 10 commandments that I don't think we really prioritize. Look at your neighbor and say, you need to rest. Rest, I learned, is a weapon. Rest is a weapon of warfare. When the storms of life come your way, attack it with some rest. Attack it with him. I trust God. Attack it with though he slay me, yet will I trust. Attack it with I know that all things work to. Attack your storms and your problems with rest.
What does self-worth actually mean to you?
Oh, self-worth is my belief that I belong wherever I am, in whatever room or space that I'm in, and that I bring value to that space. That I'm not just there because someone else couldn't come, or I'm not just there because they didn't find someone better, but that I bring value no matter where I am. And I feel like so many times women go into a space wanting someone to validate their existence or for someone to give them validation and worth, and yet self-worth is believing in the value that I bring when I come into a room or space.
To live your life in a way that you will not regret years of useless virtue and inertia and timidity. Take up the battle. Take it up. It's yours. This is your life. This is your world. You make your own choices. So pick it up. Pick up the battle and make it a better world. Just where you are. Yes. And it can be better, and it must be better.
I don't think confidence is something that you are born with. I don't think confidence is, it's a skill set. And I had no confidence growing up as a child. Then over time I realized, like, as a woman, as a girl in this world, if I allow myself to be hurt or if I allow myself to be affected, that's all I'm going to be. And so confidence is something I taught myself over the years. I started becoming okay with who I am.
Staying true to who you are is easy when you know who you are. And I think that I'm 31, and through my 20s, I had to really get to know myself. And I had a lot of like what felt like maybe carpal tunnel, because I was just writing a lot about journaling, about who I wanted to be, what my goals were, and all these different things. And I think that just really knowing who you are and getting to know yourself is really key in whatever industry that you're in and whatever mountain you're trying to move.
I guess when you just like be yourself, you know, and in your most genuine possible way, and are completely unafraid, that's when everything starts to fall into place. And that takes a while. When you let go and you're like, here you go, take it or leave it.
Whether you like it or
that's
not,
as simple as it can be. It's
Yeah.
like, why hold back? You own life. Just have fun and be yourself, and don't worry about the rest. It all falls into place.
There's a lot of people here that are very interested in starting their own companies. Yeah. So what advice do you have?
First advice for someone who wants to be an entrepreneur is to be an entrepreneur, not to necessarily cogitate and study about it. Advice number 2 is that you should hire people who complement you, not duplicate you. So if you're an engineer, don't hire another engineer, hire somebody who can sell. So hire people who complement you. My last piece of advice, which may be controversial, is don't write a business plan. The ultimate business plan is a prototype.
I want to talk about dreams for a second. And in my case, literally a dream. It was kind of a strange dream. It went like, I think I could download the entire web onto some old computers that were lying around. That would probably seem pretty crazy to most people, but I stayed up a couple hours in the middle of the night doing some math, and it seemed actually pretty plausible, and that became Google. I'd like to encourage everyone to follow their dreams.
And today it's getting harder and harder to tap into our own wisdom, because we are all so hyper-connected to our devices, our screens, our social media, that we're having a hard time disconnecting from technology and reconnecting with ourselves. What I'm telling you is to regularly disconnect from technology, to regularly unplug and recharge in order to reconnect with ourselves and our own deepest wisdom.
I finally get to LA. I have to pursue my dream, because if I don't, what am I teaching my son? And I have to fight the good fight, because people are telling me I can't. You can't do this. You can't. Are you crazy? You're moving to California with your son. You'll never make it. If you listen to people and if you allow people to project their fears onto you, you won't live.
To me, entrepreneurship is about creating change, not just creating companies. And the most effective entrepreneurs who I've met care deeply about some mission and some change that they're trying to create, and often they don't even start because they're trying to create a company. The entrepreneurs who I think build things that last for a long time keep going because they care fundamentally about the change that they're trying to create in the world, And they're not in it just to build a company.
You know, standing here with 19 championships is something I never thought would happen. You know, I went on the courts with just a ball and a racket and a hope, and that's all I had. And it's inspiring for all you guys out there that want to do something and want to be the best that you can be and want to do the best that you can do. You just never give up, because you never know what can happen. You never know who you can inspire and who you can influence. So I'm so honored.
Worth, what it is that you expect from the world in response to who you are. It's very different from value. Self-value means how you hold yourself within yourself and what you expect as a result. In order to get to the worth, if you're not holding yourself within yourself as worthy, then what you expect from the world is surely going to hurt you.
Growing up, my dad used to encourage my brother and me to fail. So at the dinner table, he would actually ask us, what did you fail at this week? And if we didn't have something to tell him, he would actually be disappointed. I can remember coming home from school and being like, Dad, I tried out for this and I was horrible. And he'd be like, way to go, and high-five me. It was such a gift what he was doing. I didn't realize it at the time, but he was redefining failure for me. And so failure became not about the outcome, but about not trying.
It is okay to be scared. It is okay to cry. Everything is okay, but giving up should not be an option. They always say that failure is not an option. Failure should be an option, because when you fail, you get up, and then you fail, and then you get up, and that keeps you going. That's how humans are strong. Failure is an option, should be an option, but giving up is not. Never.
First day is over, and she said, you did a great job, but now you've got to finish up and you've got to take all the gum off the floor. I said to her, look, you hired me as a scooper, not a scraper. And she said, no, I hired you as an employee. You do whatever I say. I own this store. If I'd known that, I probably wouldn't take this position. She said, how about this? You're fired. And she said, it means you get back on your bicycle, go home, don't come back here. And I was so humiliated, but this is horrible. Whatever she says I have to do, I'm not going to live my life that way. I never worked another day in my life for somebody, ever again.
It doesn't matter where you come from, what you have or don't have, what you lack, what you have too much of, but all you need to have is faith in God, an undying passion for what you do or what you choose to do in this life, and a relentless drive and the will to do whatever it takes to be successful and whatever you put your mind to. Make sure you live in the moment and work your butt off every single day. And I hope I inspire people all around the world to just be themselves, be humble, and be grateful for all the blessings in your life.
I am willing to speak up. I am willing to keep going. I am willing to listen to what others have to say. I am willing to go forward even when I feel alone. I am willing to go to bed each night at peace with myself. I am willing to be my biggest, bestest, most powerful self.
When you're trying to run something at the scale of Google, you rely on other strong leaders, like learning to let go and really empowering people, at all levels of the organization. And as a leader, a lot of your job is to make those people successful. Less about trying to be successful and more about making sure you have good people, and your work is to remove barriers, remove roadblocks for them so that they can be successful in what they do. And so that's how I've always thought about it.
My best business decisions really have to do with picking people, deciding to go into partnership with Paul Allen, hiring a friend, Steve Ballmer, and having somebody who you totally trust, who's totally committed, who shares your vision and yet has a little bit different set of skills, and also acts as a check on you. It's not only made it fun, but it's really led to a lot of success. So picking a partner is crucial.
I think everyone is different and unique, and that's a good thing. It's not bad. It's kind of the best thing in the world. You don't want to be like everyone else. What's special is the fact that you're different, and is the fact that you're unique, and that you can bring something to the table. So if anything, embrace that thing that you have that no one else does, and expand upon it and make it better and tell everyone about it and be confident in it. Because if you're confident and happy and smiling, you will attract confidence, happiness, and laughter.
We should all be helping to heal ourselves, helping to heal each other, helping to heal our daughters, the next generation, by really celebrating our successes and not going, oh, I'm showy no, like, I'm confident. I want to share this with you. Like, let's cheer each other on. Like, let's champion each other. Let's show examples of what's possible for everyone else so that they're inspired and believe it's possible as well for them.
You may be watching this right now, and you have these incredible ideas, and what you think is missing is motivation. And that's not true. The fact about human beings is that we are not designed to do things that are uncomfortable or scary or difficult. Our brains are designed to protect us from those things. And in order to change, in order to build a business, you're going to have to do things that are difficult, uncertain, or scary.
What are you going to do? When are you going to start doing it? This isn't about a convention, a conference. It's not about enthusiasm. Do you need to smile? Yeah, you need to smile. You need to smile like you're crazy. You need to smile when you're not winning. Okay? But you need to do something, folks. And you need to do it 10 times, and then 100 times, and then 1,000 times. And if you do it enough times, you're going to win. You're going to get to sit wherever you want in life.
Make them see you. Now, if you've ever been called dumb, unattractive, overweight, unworthy, untalented, well, so have I. Whatever you do, don't let negativity of people projecting their own self-doubts on you deter you from your focus. I know those moments are painful, and you're human, and it hurts like hell, but now is the time to turn those criticisms into fuel and motivation to become a beautiful beast.
My love for myself could not be based on other people. We spend time on everything to do with hair and makeup and clothes and on other people, looking at other people, talking to other people. But I felt like I wasn't spending any time actually thinking, who am I? Like, I don't know who I am. And I feel like in a relationship, whether it's with yourself or whether it's with somebody else, you have to know yourself, to love yourself. We never get into relationships with people or friendships with people without knowing them.
I personally believe that it is our duty as entrepreneurs in this day and age to be the change makers in society. It's not just about building a business anymore. You need to stand for something and contribute to making the world a better place. Because today's consumers demand that brands align with their values and ethics. I want you to never feel like you need to compromise your values to fully realize your dreams.
One of the biggest mistakes people generally make, and I'm guilty of it too, is wishful thinking. You know, like you want something to be true even if it isn't true. And so you ignore the things that, you ignore the real truth because of what you want to be true. This is a very difficult trap to avoid. But if you just take that approach of you're always to some degree wrong and your goal is to be less wrong.
The most important journey I think all of us will go through is the journey in ourselves, to find our truth, to find who we are and what makes us happy. And in our culture, we are told that if we're beautiful, if we're skinny, if we're successful, famous, if we fit in, if everyone loves us, that we'll be happy. But that's not entirely true.
The most important thing about running a company is to remember all the time what a company is. A company is simply a group of people. As a leader of people, you have to be a great listener, you have to be a great motivator, you have to be very good at praising and looking for the best in people, and that's a critical attribute of a leader.
You have to dance beautifully in the box that you are comfortable dancing in, right? So like everybody's box is different. My box was to be extremely ambitious within the sport of basketball. Your box is different than mine, right? Every kid here has their own box, but it doesn't mean that your box isn't as beautiful as mine. Everybody has their own. It's your job to try to perfect it and make it as beautiful of a canvas as you can make it. And if you have done that, then you have lived a successful life. You have lived with Mamba mentality.
Most people do a lot of talking and most people don't put in the effort. There's
nothing you can accomplish in life with the right amount of work. The challenge is, are you willing to do the work? And the reality is, most people aren't, but that's the opportunity, right? It's like people at school. Those people are lazy, right? They barely get through it, and so that creates opportunity.
Almost tricked myself enough that every day I was doing something that was meaningful, that I wasn't addressing how I actually felt. Looking back now, I was at my most miserable because I didn't address how I felt. And now in business and everything I do, I reassess. But I didn't have a growth mindset back then. So now I'm just like, am I enjoying what I'm doing? What is my life's purpose? And am I doing that every single day? And I didn't do that back then.
There's a time in all of our lives where we want to get ahead, where we have an ambition, where we want to do more, where we want to succeed further. And sometimes we hit a wall and we don't know how to get past it. And we realize at the end of it, hopefully you get to the point where you realize the only thing that's stopping you is you. And you can break through any barrier. But sometimes that's a long road. That's a hard journey.
Be patient. Everything in life will go exactly how it's supposed to go. At times you will feel like an outcast, that you don't fit in, but you will discover that being your own clique will be your strongest attribute. In life, you're going to face many challenges, many moments of adversity. There are going to be a lot of successes and some failures too. Those moments are going to create your character, build your integrity, and they will become your beauty marks.
Self-doubt comes at random times. You're not prepared for self-doubt. I'm one of them people who can get motivated very easily. But in the sense of getting motivated very easily, you can be down on yourself and have self-doubt very easily. Not thinking you're great enough, not thinking you're enough. But I was always able to pull from things or pull from people and allow them to bring me back. Wow. I always tell my son that allow the people around you. God has put these people in your life for a reason. So allow your friends, allow me, allow the people you trust around you to bring you back.
By far the best investment you can make is in yourself. For example, communication skills. I tell those students that come, they're going to graduate schools and business, and they're learning all these complicated formulas and all that. If they just learn to communicate better, both in writing and in person, they increase their value at least 50%. They have to be able to get forth your ideas. And if you invest in yourself, nobody can take it away from you.
You know why you can't tell it to everybody? Because if you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. God has shown you some amazing stuff in your life that you thought was brilliant. Then you took it to your friends and your family, and you shared it with them, and they shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. You know why they couldn't see it? Because God didn't show it to them. He showed it to you.